I can be a Samson, or I can be a Peter, not thinking. I can be Paul, prideful. I mean, they all have my characteristics.
Yeah, I can see their downfalls in themselves.
It's funny too, if you would have asked me, so for the longest time, I had read the Gospels, Genesis, and probably the Ten Commandments. And through Genesis, I was thinking, yeah, I appreciate Abraham because he was really messed up and made a lot of really bad decisions, but he had strong faith.
Right.
I can relate to that. And then as I read the rest of the Old Testament, I realized he's just like the first person that did that, but the entire Old Testament is full of that same pattern. Great faith, great mistakes, rinse and repeat over and over and over again.
And I think that's the beauty of it is, look, God ain't expecting us to be perfect because we won't be.
When you don't know what to do, you trust the Lord. Then then you do trust the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because
what do you do when you don't know what to do? You
see, that's the thing. You don't know anything else but to trust the Lord.
right, and that's what.
And those
That
are
happens to
sometimes the
me.
best times to be.
Well, I remember you had one. Well, you had one. I remember is when you were doing funerals, but the other one, it was and it was good. Both of them were good. The time that you couldn't prepare
Right.
was a
Right.
very good sermon, but the other one was when you didn't know what to say when you did the sermon or spoke at the A- Avisboro Church, which is
Right.
rain.
Yeah. Just show up. And I've found the more that you're dependent
That's
upon
it.
the
There you
Lord,
go.
that's the key. And that's really, but at the same time, it's nothing wrong with being prepared.
No, but at all.
Yeah.
You're right at all. But by like you were trying to prepare,
Right.
but nothing was clicking.
Well, that just comes from your Bible study. So in a way, you are prepared in the fact of you've studied the scriptures, you memorized the scripture. You may not be as prepared for that moment because you hadn't studied all week for a sermon.
Yeah.
At the same time,
Okay.
you've hidden that word in your heart so that the Holy Spirit, like I said, I use the illustration of if you're in a spiritual battle or you're struggling to say what to say, and the Holy Spirit's trying to help you, and he goes to your arsenal of Bible verses, and all you got John 3:16 hanging in there, that ain't good.
And it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's wow. I mean, that's what.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Lord. That's the feeling.
Yeah, when you don't know what to do, you depend on depend on the Lord. You do, that's what we do.
Right.
And so if you don't, the moral story is if you don't know what to do, you know what we always do: depend on the Lord.
Yeah. If you don't know what to do, or you do know what to do, just depend on the Lord.
Well, it's harder to depend on the Lord when you know what you're going to do. That's just it.
Sometimes you lean on.
That's why we go through a lot of trials.
Sometimes you lean. Yeah.
I mean, I think for us to really depend on the Lord, we really have to either be going in the trial or coming out of it.
Sometimes.
I would say, that's when we depend on Him the most.
Well, the most.
Then we
for
get
sure.
lax.
Yeah.
There's a little balance there too. We could rename the show Balance at this point. We talk about balance all the time,
Balance, I like that.
but that's something I was praying on something this week that's not that big of a deal, really, but it's one of those things that I want to see God in all of my decisions, whether they seem big or not. And there's part of me that thinks that he's up there on the throne thinking, kid, I got way bigger things to think about than giving you guidance on this one little thing.
Right.
But at the same time, I know he wants me to include him in everything that I do.
That's right.
So it's, there's some balance there too. I don't ever want to do anything really on my own. I can mess up the tiniest little things on my own.
Right.
But, at the same time, not everything is a life-changing, decision, but still consult with him on everything.
And I think that's the thing is, and sometimes when I hear that, I get it, and I think what we do is we prescribe to God human limitations.
Right.
Yeah, look, I ain't gonna bother the man because he's got enough on him, and I can take care of this. No, that's what we do if you don't want to talk to somebody because they got. People tell me all the time, I didn't want to bother you about it, talking to me.
Mhm.
I didn't want to bother you about it and tell you, I got my. I got a knee replacement next week. I didn't want to bother you about it because I know you'd come up there and you got enough going on. Okay, that's human limitations. You're trying to say, all right, for me, Ben, I know you got too much going on. Don't worry about me. I got it. Well, God isn't human, and nor is he limited, and nor does he say, "I can't handle that problem today." So when I read a passage like 1 Peter 5:7, cast all your cares upon him because he cares for you. Cast all, not the big ones,
Yeah.
not the middle sized and above. No, it's all. And so I think that's part of what we need to make sure that that we don't somehow try to limit him or think that he can't handle it.
Well, another slightly different even if let's take what I just said there and let me rephrase it. What you said is true. We sometimes put limitations on, which is silly. We know he's
He can
unlimited,
handle it.
right? But even a different way I could look at it, I was thinking about this with Gabe sometimes. Gabe's probably the worst for it. Reese and Christian, not so much, but Gabe's always asking me, "What should I do about this? What should I do about that?" And it could be, "Dad, should I eat a Pop-Tart or a sausage biscuit for breakfast?" I'm like, "I don't care.
Yeah.
Neither one of them are that good for you.
Which one do
Just
you
get
want?"
one. I don't care." And sometimes I wonder,
One
like,
may be better than the other, but
Yeah.
not that much.
yeah, and sometimes I'm wondering, like, am I making this a bigger deal than it really is? But at the same time, sometimes those little things can be big decisions down the road. You never know.
And just a word of advice: you never want to shun it as, "Hey, okay, kid, you asking me, I'll help you," but because there are going to be big decisions that are really going to matter. That's when you do want them to come to you.
Yeah.
'Cause, so which one would you do, Pop Tart or sausage biscuit?
Well, that's a tough one because I mean, my man likes his sausage, I know, but he loves
Yeah.
some sweets. I do know
Well,
that.
What flavor?
what are we talking about being balanced?
I'm just saying, you got
You
Part of
it's
balance
breakfast
comes-
time, and you got a choice. Doesn't matter what you had yesterday.
But do you want a balanced meal? That's what I.
Oh,
Which one of those is a balanced meal?
sausage biscuit can be. You got carbs and protein in that,
I think.
and
I
fat.
don't see a vegetable.
Well, no.
Well, I think a sausage biscuit and a V8.
There you go.
Okay, I can do that.
I can get on V8.
Remember the V8 commercials?
Love V8. I
Yeah,
could
but
have had
you
a V8.
remember the commercial when they came out? But have you had your V8 today? They were.
Oh, I thought it was I could have had a V8 and he hit some stuff in the head.
No, man, you're.
Where did you go back and watch? That's what they did first.
No, the V8 where they kind of walking sideways. They had their V8,
Yeah, that was the 90s.
and then they straightened up.
No, the 70s was I could have had a V8 and hit themselves.
Oh, no, I don't remember that. But
I don't remember that.
I wasn't addicted to TV then.
Okay. So I have been accused of being long-winded. I'm getting tired of that accusation, false accusation.
And
Who accused you of being long-winded? Wasn't Kenny, was
I'm
it?
hearing my own secretary say something about it's 12 o'clock and you let us out. And I'm like,
I didn't.
Well, that
either.
is normal.
for the record, I think it was we had sung and I was doing the benediction at 11:55. I looked at that
That's
wrong.
how I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
if y'all got to do all that singing,
Look, I don't care if you go to 1, 2 o'clock because it doesn't bother me. I didn't used to.
yeah, but the people in children's church,
You wouldn't have very many people.
Yeah.
That's right.
I will agree with that actually because
and
I
that's
told
one of the reasons I'm kind of like, look, I try my
I
best.
know you
and
do,
it-
man.
uh,
But I could stay all day. It doesn't matter to me.
I told Gabe Sunday we were leaving, and he said,
break for lunch
break for lunch.
or cater it.
Yeah, church on the ground.
Gabe, we were leaving Sunday, and Gabe says, "We can say hey to Ben before we go." I said, "Let's go get Christian from Children's Church first, because I know one thing for sure that they are ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's
Yes.
go get them first."
That's right.
But, but
Well, who
no,
did it?
this is I don't.
It was Jordan, and who helped Jordan and her mother?
That's it. Okay,
Jordan and Angela. Okay.
it was probably the only.
Yeah, we got
Because you were looking
gotta cut
for
it short.
Garrett.
Yeah, I was trying to because this was the first one in a while that I didn't know who was doing it. I didn't. I know the names of who it is, but I don't know the people doing it. So I was going around during the greeting trying to figure out who it was so I could ask if Reese could help. She loves to go up there and help. I think she likes to help. I think she mostly likes getting out of the sermon.
Yeah.
But
And
it's probably-
I'm not
probably
putting
like, hey, I'd rather you go there.
Yeah, I'm not putting no age difference, but it is till third grade, I think.
I think so.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
Adults can come.
Yeah.
If they want to. I just
Well, I mean, you want them to go where they're going to get the most
well, you want to
out
go
of their
I mean,
time. I mean,
you want to go where the sermon's not too long. The class is not too long, and yeah, so and that you can have their full attention. That's why we say we had no limits. So, but when you start seeing adults going in there more than two,
yeah.
then you better start thinking about
Yeah.
how you kind of shorten your sermons a little bit.
My
I
favorite's
don't care.
when it's about 11:48, and you're saying, "All right, I know I got to go. I know I got to go,"
Let's
and
hustle up.
'cause you got three more points to
Yeah.
go.
Just give them to you real quick. Well,
Uh,
and that sermon Sunday, I mean, for my defense or to my defense.
You don't have to defend yourself. Me,
Oh, I feel like I do now.
I just,
Not to you,
yeah,
but to everybody. No, John chapter 11, it's all one story and it's 40 something verses long, dude.
yeah,
I know.
So, I mean, you got to tell the story, and there's all kinds of things going on with Martha, with Mary. I mean, you can't just bypass that one. I would guess I
Well,
could have just focused on 25 through 27, but you still got to set the context.
well, yeah, and the thing about it, how we read the Bible is you're trying to bring out the spiritual implications, which is what you're supposed to do.
Thank you.
A lot of times we read the Bible and we begin to read the story
Right.
and not read it with our spiritual eyes. I mean, I find myself drifting back and forth.
And there are times that you do want to read it for the story.
For no,
And
usually a story. Oh, well, yes,
and the Holy Spirit will
entertainment.
draw out those spiritual implications. Like, for instance, I mean, look, I know it's not the main point of the theme of the text, but the fact that Martha goes out and Mary stays in. Wha- w- here's that's not Mary. Mary is the one who's always at Jesus' feet. Why is it she's not going out? And my point was just to say, look, no matter who you are, spiritual giant or not, a worshiper at heart or not, there gonna be times when you're gonna struggle. And Mary was, and she's one of the best. I mean, she was such a worshiper that Jesus says this will be a testimony to her for all time. We still talk about what
Yeah,
she did.
that's what I was saying. You were going
Oh,
with
you
your
said that?
spiritual eyes.
You were saying that?
Well, no, I was saying
Oh,
you were
he was saying it in his
preaching it.
mind.
You were preaching it
He was thinking it.
spiritually.
yeah, I get it. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, because
Once you started explaining it that time, I got it.
Well, and it's kind of
how many
you
times
say
do you need me to explain it to you?
Well, I just didn't know. That's what I was saying. I was like, that ain't what I was saying.
Well, and you've said before, you got to be careful not to try to make big things out of little things in the Bible, and try to and really go to seed is your word or your phrase for that on something that's a small point. But there's all that was I like that you brought that point up because it's something you can easily gloss over reading that.
Yeah.
That I mean, John said it for a reason that Mary stayed inside. What was
And
the
he keeps
reason?
emphasizing 4 days.
Yeah.
And he emphasizes some things. John's very particular about the way he paints pictures and what he gives. And he gives details just like, when we looked at John 9 and the man was sent to the pool of Siloam, and he puts in there, which means sent. Well, why you got to tell us that? Well,
Mhm.
I mean, that is one of that. Evidently, it meant something to John to put that in there.
Yeah. Well, and if you got to know the rest of the story to understand the significance of him pointing that in there. If you don't know the story about Martha and Mary and she was the one at Jesus' feet, then you don't catch the part
Right.
that, oh, she's the one who not had the most faith, but she was the one who was
Commended for
commended.
worship.
Right. Yeah, there
I
you go.
mean, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was the only Jew that was commended for her worship.
Yeah.
There were some other Gentiles that were, I've not found faith like this in all of Israel.
Mhm.
There were Gentiles she was the only Jew that, man, she worshiped him and anointed his feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair and the perfume. I mean, this is a worshiper extraordinaire.
Well, and you made the point, I think this was your words. I wrote this down. When your world gets rocked, it's not about what you feel or how you feel. It's about what you believe.
Yeah.
And, she was, I don't know if that was the point or if that was the part of the sermon that you made
it was
that
verse
comment.
26, where Jesus tells her, I'm the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will not perish. But it basically is saying, but then at the end, he says, do you believe this? He
Mhm.
doesn't say, how does that make you feel? Do you feel comforted?
Yeah.
Or do you feel a little more
You feel better now? Yeah.
No, it's, do you believe this? Because I believe that's, as I said, yeah, it's not so oftentimes how you feel, it's what you are believing.
Yeah.
And are you confident in it?
Yeah. Welcome to the other 167, by the way, before I
There we
forget
go.
that. We're about to get deep into it and we hadn't even said hey yet. So
Yeah,
hey everybody. Um,
how you feeling?
how you feeling, Kenny?
$1,000,000, man. $1,000,000.
You're looking good, I'm telling you.
I tell you,
The already
has a hearty diet.
The already died. It's a breakfast, noon, and
Well, you
dinner,
don't
or
wanna eat there 3 times would
2
be
times
good.
a day is okay?
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure
Depends on
out.
And a
what you eat.
snack, and the apple pie turn a good late at night.
You don't get to go to Hardee's too many times a day and keep it under 2,000 calories.
No.
That's a challenge. Sometimes you can't go once and keep it under 2,000 if you pig out on it.
Yeah, if you go to getting certain things, you sure
Just
can.
get the bag.
Yeah.
That's
$5.99?
about 500 calories, I think.
I don't think so.
You got that in the sandwich.
You get
Have you read the label?
I'm pretty confident it's more than 500 calories. If you're eating a double it's a double cheeseburger, right?
That's gonna be
No, you
450
got
all day.
options now. You
I
don't
know,
have
but
to
I'm just
have it.
saying, if you get the double cheeseburger and a hot dog and a fry and a drink, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that's 500 calories.
Not if you get 2 hot dogs
Almost anything you just
I'm
list.
almost certain if you get 2 hot dogs and a fry.
and a salad.
I I don't know the Hardee's. Has Hardee's got a salad now?
They used to, I don't know if they might
I
have they
think
might
they
have
threw that out.
health
It's kinda like that one
health
at
kit.
Bojangles. It's been the same one in the refrigerator now
Yeah.
for 15. They got that they got that refrigerator set
should
so
be,
low so
yeah.
it don't turn brown, or either it's a fake salad so that, "Oh, yeah, we got a salad."
Yeah, probably
Wink,
thanks.
wink.
One of the things that I finished Book of Job a couple weeks
Whoa.
ago,
Alright.
and first of all, one thing about Job, if him and his buddies would argue with one another, that book would have been about 3 chapters long. It was not a. It's if him and his
5
buddies.
chapters.
Yeah, only been 5 chapters.
Yeah, if him and his buddies wouldn't argue so much, it'd have been about 3 or 4 chapters because
It's amazing, isn't it?
God's part is pretty simple. I mean, he got to the chase by the first chapter. You get the scene in heaven that's going to set all this.
I hate to say it, I've read the Book of Job and read the first 2 chapters and skipped to about 33, 34.
I came real
And
close.
like, man, I don't even want to hear what these guys have to say, but
It's like
it's good to read, but
it's
I
like a
want to hear
podcast.
what does God say?
It's
Yeah, I came real close.
I mean, it really is. Yeah.
That's
what are they-
great. That's the best line ever.
Don't tell them that
Yeah.
yet, though, Kenny.
That's
They,
awesome.
they won't listen to the whole thing.
That's awesome.
But I came real close, probably about 20 chapters into it. It's like, I get it now. We're just going to repeat this over and over and over. And I've read it before.
Every one
But
of his friends. Okay, you did
Yeah.
something, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, you know
why does
it.
the 4th friend get a pass, though? The 4th guy that speaks up doesn't get rebuked by God.
Maybe he's tired. Few limitations on him. He's tired of talking.
Yeah.
Lord, y'all shut up.
A couple of things. But number one, I was surprised. Job gets a pretty long 2-3 chapter.
Where were you?
Yeah.
Who
And
taught the snow and who
Yeah.
taught the storehouse?
and then he hits the guys that were wrong, really, in the story for the most part. He only gives them like 2 paragraphs of rebuking, and then says that Job was right. Or he more right, I guess, in the way he spoke. So I thought that was interesting. But there were 2 things that kind of just high level takeaways from this pass through it. One thing I never really thought about is that if you think about it in this way, Job was really blessed from the start when he says, "Have you considered my servant Job?"
Yeah.
Who's basically no one else like him. Essentially, his face is
He's upright. He's
right.
Hey, he's my servant.
And in a way, there it's like not that it's a badge of honor or anything, but God knew how much faith He had given Job, and that was ultimately one of the blessings that he gets out of it is seeing how much faith he really did have. Sometimes you don't. Let's think about like when you there's a lot of workouts that'll tell you to like push to your limit, push to failure.
Right.
And the only way you know exactly how many you can do is to go one more than you can do. I know I can do 10 push-ups.
Right.
I think I can do 20. The only way I know for sure is to do one more than I can handle. And I think in Job's case and maybe some other cases, you might go to that limit sometimes and maybe God even, I don't know if this is something God would do necessarily, but let you go past your limit just to show you where your limit really is so that you can see how that limit has grown over time. Failure never feels good when you go through it, but at the same time, there's things that would have really crushed me a few years ago that don't even hardly faze me now.
Right.
And you see that kind of growth. So that was one thing. And then the second takeaway from it is just, we're just not entitled to all the answers. And sometimes we sure think we are, and we're not. We anything he chooses to reveal to us is a blessing.
Mhm.
We're not entitled to know anything
no.
more than
And I think that's one of the points Sunday that I was getting at too is, Martha's being real raw
Mhm.
with Jesus. I mean, point blank, Jesus, you'd been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Now, again, is that showing faith or is it showing discontentment? I think it's a combination of both, but I think it's really more of the discontentment part,
What
just
about
because anger, grief, it's a lot of stuff
yeah.
going on there. And my point was, you can be real and raw with God. He can handle it. I said, but just don't expect an answer or expect to
yeah.
hear the answer you want.
That was one of the other points I was going to bring up on
Thought
that.
about that too.
Yeah, because oftentimes, God, why are you doing this? God, you don't you've left me. You've done this. Well, don't be surprised if God doesn't come back with, no, I've been here the whole time, or it might be something you might think you're justified in that statement, but God may come back and say, let's set the record straight, or reveal something to you that oh, I hadn't thought about it that way, or something else.
Yeah.
I mean that, or you're not entitled to it.
Yeah. So I told Reese that day, and I may have said this on the last time we recorded, but she asked, is it okay to be mad at God? And I said, well, I guess, I mean, you want to be honest with him,
Right.
but just understand if you're mad, who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
If it is a mad, it needs to be very short-lived to the point of, you know what, God, I'm hurt, I'm crushed, and God, I sure wish this hadn't happened like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, don't stay there because
Yeah.
there ain't no sense in it.
Usually when I've gotten to a point where I'm frustrated, I don't want to lie and pretend because he knows better. I know that part, but usually the prayer is just I know I'm wrong for this, but I can't help it right
Yeah.
now. Please help
God,
me.
I
You
need
know,
to express this.
yeah. Please help me to get
I just don't
feeling this
think
way.
God strikes us now. If you say something like, curse God and die,
Oh
or
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that,
oh yeah. That wasn't
sound like one of Job's friends or his wife. But if it's something that way, but to be real and honest and hurting, man, I don't know. There's just a part of me that says, I think that's the beauty of a relationship with the Lord is it should be real,
hmm
not a put on, not a oh, I'm gonna walk in and I got to speak the King James English when I pray and I got
Yeah.
to do this. No, I think it should be that our hurts or He knows our hurts because God, I'm really struggling with this, and I wish this wasn't the way it was. But God, what do I say? What do I do? Those are the things He's looking for.
Speaking of the King James English, when you pray, I was the other morning. So I usually pray myself to sleep at night, and then just pick right back up wherever I left off the night
Right.
before as I'm waking up. And the other morning, man, I could not concentrate. My life depended on it. I laid there for about an hour probably, and it occurred to me that I've been sitting here praying for an hour, and I've said the same thing 6 times, and have not spent a total of 10 minutes of this 60 actually praying. It's like ooh squirrel, ooh squirrel. And I started thinking about it. I was like, I've always felt really guilty about that. I mean, you're talking to the Lord. This should not be something that's boring and you can't stay focused on. But I was laying there the morning thinking about it, I thought, well, once I wake up and go about my day until my Adderall kicks in, I can't maintain focus for 30 seconds. Maybe that's why I've always had such a hard time staying focused on my prayers because I'm distracted in anything I do.
I get it. First thing in the mornings, I am not like coherent or what because I just woke up. I have a hard time keeping focus. Now Renee can get up in the morning. That's what she does.
Yeah.
First thing. Not me. It takes me a while to kind
Agreed. I mean,
of.
it's everybody's different,
Yeah.
and I don't
Because
know.
she's having
Yeah.
coffee, I'm not, so that might be
And I think that, when David writes early in the morning, well, I will seek thee. I don't know that he's saying, all right, as soon as your eyes open up, although it's a good thing as soon as your eyes open
There's
up
no
to begin
question.
thinking about the Lord. But as far as jumping in there and, okay, I really got to get into it, I think a lot of times is, hey, man, get your wits about you because I want to do it with a fresh heart and fresh mind and fresh eyes. And
Yeah.
so, and for some people like myself, my best time's at night.
I was gonna say, I really get things done at night far as
Yeah.
spiritually.
Oh,
And
as
then
far
I
as
mull it,
physically, mentally, jobbily,
and
whatever.
I think about it, while I sleep all night long.
I think that's
But
professionally
Yeah,
you were going
professionally.
for it, not
I was gonna
jobbily.
say, whatever, but jobbily,
Jobbily,
but what
Jobbily.
I do better at night than and a
jobbily.
lot of times because
I'm more
here
focused.
here is there's distractions every
Yeah.
10 minutes here. And
Yeah,
I
I
can get more
remember.
done
Yeah.
at night than I can in this office. I mean, it's just the way it is.
It takes me a good 30 minutes easily to just feel like I'm fully awake and
Yeah.
you're ready to concentrate on something. And yeah, I do like to if I do study in the morning, it's after I get back from dropping the kids off. Sometimes I'll get up, take the kids to school, come back, and if I've got time, I'll study then. But I've never, if I tried to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning
Oh, I can't.
and then go sit down and read scripture while I drink my coffee, I wouldn't understand it probably till I finish the coffee. I mean, I'm just kind of going through the motions. If I could, if the kids were old enough to train them to come in there and just pop one of those pills in my mouth while I'm still sleeping, I'd wake up hitting the ground running. But as it is, it takes me a good 30 minutes to an hour to get going. But at night,
Yeah.
I,
That's when I do that's when I really can things become clearer right before I go to bed.
Yeah.
But first thing in the morning, I get up early,
Right.
but I focused on other things of what am I going to do.
Well, and a lot of times that happens too.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning, you
That's
wake up,
where my
"All right, what
mind
have I got to do today? And am I going to be able to get that task done before I got to go to, I know I got to be there at 10, so I'm going to get started at 6:30.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, it's been like that through work. I'd be at work at 5 o'clock,
right.
but I'm getting up at 4:30. I'm out the door. Well, at 5:30. I'm out the door at 5 o'clock. And then from there to about 8 o'clock at night, I was just focused. And after 8 o'clock, I'm fine. I mean, I'm not tired. I'm not, I can focus on, maybe I can focus on spiritual things. But then here's the question, the, the kickback on that or pushback on it, should God be first? And that's what I have to, yeah, of course, yes. But first in what? First day of the week or first part of the day or all day or, it should be all day. So I get a kickback on that is, well, shouldn't God be first as soon as you get up in the morning?
Well, I think so. But I
But
think
yeah,
at the
but
same
I'm not
time,
ready to actually.
yeah, I don't think that, I mean, look, as soon as my eyes open up, I want to be thinking about, all right, Lord, today is a day you've made. And I think that counts as that. But as far as diving into a deep theological read,
That's for later on for me.
yeah, I think it needs to be, I think each person is different. Although a light uh, guidepost or daily living or little small light devotion or a verse just to concentrate on one verse. That's a good way.
Yeah.
You don't have to do a deep dive first thing in the morning as much as it is just all right. Centering my thoughts, centering my life, centering my heart. Today's focus is I'm focusing on you. Yes, I've got tasks and I've got jobs and I've got all of these things I got to do. But God, first and foremost, I want to make sure that today I'm about honoring you. I think that's enough right there. That's just to start the day with that. You don't nothing said about having to read 3
I know,
passages or
but then the example you get is, well, Jesus first thing in the morning went to the mountains.
sometimes.
Sometimes.
Do we know he did that
Sometimes
every day?
he stayed all night too
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
well, this feels like if we're if you're saying pushback, as in some people would tell you you're wrong for doing it this way or wrong for doing it that way, I would say that this is the definition of one of the things that the Pharisees would argue about. That is,
Legalism.
yeah, that's,
And I think the main thing is
I'm not saying that they're pushing back. I'm not saying that they're not saying it's,
what
that
you're
it's
saying
wrong.
is I want to make sure the first thing I do is on my mind is Jesus.
Yes,
mhm.
and I get that, and it is, but it's not in um, a study thought, studying the Bible.
Right.
That's will be later on when I know I don't have to be pressed to get this done. I come home at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I can spend as long as I want to.
Mhm.
You know,
Well,
God,
hopefully you're getting to a point, and if you're not there, this is one of the things that you're certainly striving for. Is I don't want to have to be reading the Bible to be thinking about Jesus, right? I mean, yes, when I'm reading the Bible, I'm thinking about Jesus, but I want to be thinking about him when I'm riding in the car. I want to be thinking about him all the time, and I think if you're saying, well, Jesus, yes, God comes first, but that doesn't mean you check him off and you'll see him again tomorrow. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you want to get it. He, he can't, if he's not the first thing you think of, if he's the first thing you think of, then at least you don't want to skip any part of the day. You don't want to skip the first part, second part, or the end of it either.
but my best work, study wise, it's done probably at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
and I can just,
That's me too. That's
1 o'clock.
Mhm.
after the kids go to bed. That's when I can. A lot of times I'll.
Yeah, that's when it's quiet. And
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
You said something the other day that I thought would be a good podcast topic, actually. And it was sort of in passing, but when I was talking to you on the phone the other day, and I said, I hate that every time we have these long conversations about stuff, it's always bad situations. And you said, well, that's part of just being a pastor. You see the best and the worst times of people. But I was thinking about that a little bit later on that day, and I thought, and I've heard this before, that it's one of the kind of hazards of the job, I guess. But you how much do you feel sometimes, if you want to be honest about it, that the only time you talk to people and people are always calling you in times of distress, and as opposed to just having
Yeah.
buddies that you can just things that me and you used to text back and forth during state games and stuff like that. I mean, and I can also see some people maybe it being harder for a pastor to find like genuine friends because people kind of keep the pastor just a.
That sometimes is the hardest
I
part.
want to be close to you, but I don't want you to get you close enough so you know everything about
That's
me.
right.
You know,
That sometimes is the hardest part, and I think sometimes I'll be honest with you. I think sometimes it all depends upon the pastor himself. Some pastors are just. I'm just going to put it out there. Some pastors are easy to get to know. Some pastors are easy to relate to. I've had pastors in my life that, man, I just didn't find them that relatable, and no matter how hard I tried, it was kind of like, he didn't seem like a real dude. Not that he got to be a dude or one of those guys, but I think it's just one of and I think a lot of times it goes with each pastor is what is their demeanor. Some people are just more open to want to talk to people, and some are wanting to be around people. Some have to during their work, and then oh gosh, I'm ready to shut it down.
Yeah.
And go in my house and crash.
Yeah.
And I think that's each one is different, but it's trying to find a real friend that, okay, man, that's why a lot of times pastors are real good friends. I have found that for me, a lot of times it's just people that are in the church
Yeah.
that
That's
once you find somebody that you are good with and tight with, and hey, we can share these things and we're there for each other. Yeah. I always like to put it this way. This may not be the right way. In fact, there may be somebody who would say, "Ben, that's the totally worst way." Is I'm your friend first, but I also happen to be your pastor.
Yeah.
I know that's the way it is with my family. I'm her son first, but I'm also happen to be her pastor. I'm my brother's brother, but I'm also happen to be his pastor. And so I want to be that friend just as much as I do. Okay, yeah, I'm your pastor because I think oftentimes having that friendship or having that connection allows you to be able to either speak into their life or, hey, let me pray for you, or hey, man, this isn't where you want to be.
Yeah.
What's going on here, man? Something ain't quite right.
Well, it's hard, and I do feel like it seems that way for you, that you've got really close relationships within the church. I know just from as I've gotten to know you and stuff. I know that I'm not the only person in the church that texts once in a while back and forth over things that are not Bible related or whatever. And I think it does help you be relatable. And I've lost my next point to that, but I think this is the point I was making. I think that if it's not that way, to some extent, and I don't think this is 100% true, but to really shepherd your flock, you kind of got to know where their dark spots are and where and you got to kind of get to know them. And sometimes it's hard to really counsel somebody if they're only telling you the 90% of the truth that sounds good.
Right.
You kind of.
And look, I am not the good shepherd. Jesus is that. I am an under shepherd at best, and even then, at times, I feel like I'm an under shepherd of the lowest level. But an under shepherd, I hope that I'm learning from the good shepherd.
Yeah.
And when he says in John 10:10, the sheep know my voice, but that's also true. The opposite is the shepherd knows the sheep.
Yeah.
He knows the imperfections. He knows that one ain't mine. What's he doing following me? He needs to be with that other flock.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So the shepherd has to know that at the same time, it's hard to know everybody and everything. But you still want to at least be there and and care.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole thing is and care.
Well, and sometimes it's hard to know somebody because they don't wanna let you in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I don't think of you as a pastor. I think of you as a good friend
Okay.
who happens to be a pastor.
Thank you. And that's really
I mean,
kind of sort of what I wanted
and
to.
and I like to and I wanna help you out.
Right.
You're 24/7, and it brings me great joy to help you. I know that I'm helping you, to fulfill your position. Yeah.
And just like this morning, what you did, that's part of
Yeah.
that helps me out. One of because that helps the whole church
You're right,
if people
right.
are doing that.
So, I mean, that's how I feel about anybody. I don't think Malik is my Sunday school class teacher. I think of him as a good friend that teaches Sunday school
Mhm.
class,
That's it.
you know? And, I don't, I don't and you're easy to know. I'll tell you whatever you wanted, whatever I feel like telling
Mhm.
you. You know, I mean, of course, I'm not
We
gonna
can be open.
yeah, or, and I would expect that towards me,
Right.
because I ain't gonna judge nobody, because I can't judge nobody, because I too, sinful myself.
Right. You know
I mean,
your own heart.
I am shocked at some of the things I have done in my life,
Mhm.
actually horrified.
Yeah.
And so I had no reason to set myself above someone else.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
I haven't
Not at
commit
that point, but myself
I mean,
included.
Renee hasn't committed murder yet.
She's thought about it.
Yeah, she's divorced me,
Yeah.
several times, but, it would have been a lot cleaner if she so, I have a past,
True.
and it might be the same as others, but it's my past, and I'm ashamed of it, and I know that my sin is just as evil and hateful and despicable to God as anybody else's sin. All right, I'm no better. Yeah,
You got it right.
because there's no big or small sin. There is for us all the time,
Yeah, we
but for
got
God, He's just too far off the charts to even. And that's still not qualify you. That little lie is just that's wrong. And so He's all perfect. I mean that's just my thought.
mm,
Yeah.
so
But,
you got it.
Uh,
ask me a question. Anything you want to ask?
I had this note. This is a short little story, but a little note that I jotted down that just I'm constantly trying to remind myself of the true character of God, and that because it's like we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago. There's the reverence, but there's the love, and making sure that you remember how powerful He is, but also remember how loving He is. The other day, I was riding, and we were on the way to school, taking the kids, and uh, like they always do, morons on 401 always like to go through those little cut throughs that aren't supposed to be cut throughs. And, cars are checking up. Well, I had to get on the brakes pretty hard. And as I did, I just reached my arm over in front of Gabe. Now, my mom used to do this all the time.
Yeah.
When you slam on brakes, I think I did.
I know. I
Yeah, he grew
but-
up in seatbelt times.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was in the front seat at 3 years old and sitting on a beanbag, but I was, we had seatbelts. But
A big bag.
I was after it happened. Gabe said, "Thanks for doing that, Dad. Reaching your arm over and trying to protect me." And I said, "Honestly," I said, "I really didn't even think about it. It wasn't something." I said, "It's
Yeah.
funny now that I think about it now. My mom used to do that all the time." And as I said that, I said, "You know what? Nin slammed on the brakes a lot. This happened to me a lot more than it does you because she was always slamming on brakes and reaching over." But I was thinking about that fatherly instinct that we have to protect our kids without even thinking about it. We just instinctively want to do what's best for our kids and love our kids and I just forget that side of God sometimes, that he sees us the same way and wants to protect us the same way and loves us the same way and wants to guide us the same way. And I'm constantly slipping into seeing him as the CEO of everything, who, yeah, he's approachable, but he's really mainly it's his knowledge and his power. And I forget the love part sometimes. And it's just an important one to, I think that's probably fourth or fifth time in a row I've said that, but I'm really trying to remember that side.
Yeah.
And
And that side's very, very important
Mhm.
because just like we said the other day, a dear sweet saint used to say about her husband, have you ever been mad at your husband? Why would I ever be mad? Why would I ever be mad at someone who wants the best for me?
Mhm.
Well, if we know that God wants the best for us because he loves us. And when you settle that, that's going to make all the difference in the world that, okay, I know I can trust him because he wants the best for me. Even if the best might lead me down a road that is the valley of the shadow of death, even if even what he wants for us might lead us into a world of misery like Job. But at the end, you see that he was blessed double fold, numerous times over. But he had to go through. He got to go. Oftentimes, we got to go through something to really discover who he is, or discover, whoa, God, you really are true to your word.
Random question, because you brought Job back up, and I thought I was done with that. But there was another thing I thought about with Job. How long does that entire story take to play out? Because it doesn't really say. There's a time, I think, in there where it says something like there was a 7-day break in between round 1 and round 2 of the speeches, but it never really says.
No,
I don't
I don't
think.
think and it doesn't start off by saying on the first day of the 12th month in heaven the hosts got together.
Right.
God don't say anything like that. So we really don't know. At the end of Job, it says that God gave him children. So is that grown children he's talking about, or is it or is this? I mean, what kind of children? How long does that take?
Yeah.
That's 9 months, or at minimum, if they have babies,
Yeah.
that's at least 9. Children being plural, you don't have them all at one time.
Did he say he had the same amount of children before?
No, he
and
did
after?
not. He did not.
Yeah, okay. I
In
know
fact, it's
he doubled
interesting.
everything
He only,
else, but
but children
know
was
about
actually half.
Okay, I can't.
Well, it was the same. Everything else was
wasn't
doubled.
Was it the same wife? That's what I don't know.
Oh Lord, I hope not.
She doesn't know.
I forget that
For
his
her
wife.
sake.
I forget that he didn't lose his wife,
No,
but he didn't lose her.
I
She
don't
just.
know if it's his wife. I can't remember if it's from the same wife.
I don't think it says
that.
otherwise. I don't think it says otherwise. So I think you presume that it's of the same wife.
Well, his wife gets a lot of.
That sounds like another one of his curses was that he lost everything but his wife. It sounds like
she gets a lot of flack by just saying something that she already lost all of her children. So I probably
that's true. That's
good.
Well, he also had 7 sons and 3 daughters,
Which is what he had before, wasn't it?
The commentary in mine, I believe, said that that was technically doubling it for him because he had 7 and 3, and now he had the 7 and 3 that were in heaven plus the 7 and 3 in earth. So in heaven, it would be doubled.
I always thought, well, he doubled, as far as camels. And
Yeah, I do.
I always said, well, God was trying to bless the man. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, but I thought he had the same amount of children. But his wife, it doesn't say anything about his wife. She was the mother, does it?
I don't think.
It does not. I would just assume it is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 20 children? Oh, my God.
21 if you doubled. No, 20. That's right. 7 and 3. That's right.
20 times 9. She's pregnant for 15 years.
No, it doesn't say anything about taking his wife.
How would you like? I mean, I don't know if women could survive being pregnant for 15 years.
Well, they were tougher back then, and they did live. I mean, it says here Job lived another 140 years
after that.
Yeah.
What was it before?
I mean, I don't know that it gives us his age. I'm trying to think if it did. I don't think it did. So you can just, how long did it go on? I mean, from the beginning to the end, that covers a whole lot of time when you got youngins, 10.
Because it doesn't, for everybody that high level knows the story of Job, if you've seen the trailer for Job, then when you actually watch the movie, it's almost anticlimactic in a way because it's just like all of a sudden it's the last chapter before it says that God gave him double what he had to start with, and it's like 5 verses maybe that gives him the detail of it.
I like starting in about chapter 34.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of the age that it was written before Abraham or during Abraham?
Most scholars put it as written at the same time as Abraham was.
And the same land that he came from?
Well, and you got to stop and think. It may have even been before Abraham because, I mean, you're talking about another 140 years after the main course happened. And that would almost have to be before the flood.
How old was Abraham? 175?
Well, he was 90 when he had 100 when he had Isaac.
Okay.
So I'm not sure the exact age. But I mean, if he was 90 when he had him, I don't know that it would have been too much more than that. I wouldn't put
Sarah
it to
died
145.
She just got old after that last one. She was probably a very beautiful woman. 99, 90 years
That's
old.
what they're saying.
Like, wow, I've never seen that. But
I've seen Interbeauty, but I ain't never seen no.
you're right, right.
No.
Well, that's what I meant. And
But just wait. I'm
well,
working on
the
it.
one
I'm working on
a
it.
90-year-old woman.
Let me see. I'm curious now. You done got me curious. Go ahead and start your next topic. I'll find it.
I think it's 175. That's kind of what I was thinking.
175.
How long Abraham lived.
Well, I mean, Sarah lived to be 127. So that's Sarah. So I don't think Abraham would be much more than that.
And he was 10 years older than her.
Yeah,
Isn't that right?
roughly. Yeah, that's according to what the Bible
But
says.
I believe she died a bit before him.
Mm,
Well, 50 years is a long time.
at least one chapter.
But I think so that would put if Abraham died at 75,
Yeah,
he
that's
would
one.
have did his grandchildren. Maybe nah, I wouldn't say maybe great grandchildren. I'm not sure about that. No, I wouldn't think he would know his. He would know Jacob and Esau, but I don't know if he would know their children.
Kenny, I am impressed.
What?
All the years of Abraham's life that he lived, 175 years.
There you go.
Don't know.
So I think that
I studied that.
my argument would be Job was before Abraham.
Yeah.
If he lived another 140 years, now, granted, if he'd have been 30 years old when this happened, but that's a whole lot of youngins to have before you're 30. If he had that many, 10 young, and they're grown.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that makes it sound like they're grown because they all got together, and then that's when the storm hit the house. So
So he has a lifetime of 2 children. He had 2 families, I guess.
Well, that's another thing that hit me on this is that his catastrophe was
rough.
the same. It was all the same day.
Yeah.
It was this person while this person was saying this, somebody
While
else
they were
came.
coming up. Yeah, here
Yeah.
comes the next one.
It wasn't like he had a bad
bad
year.
day.
He had
That's
one
almost
heck of a
like
bad day.
Let's hit pause, boys. I don't want don't anybody else come up to me.
Yeah, nobody else is.
don't
Lock the
wanna
door.
I don't want to
and-
hear another thing because
Yeah.
I mean, you're going from one to the other to the other.
Yeah.
To what I've always wondered, and there's no answer, is were they his children saved? Because he sacrificed for their children.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sin offering or whatever they did at that time. So I'm wondering if they were. I don't know
Don't know.
because they were carousing when when the storm came through.
Well, they might have been having a wedding shower.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
I mean, I don't know.
That's a big wedding shower. All 10 of them.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know that, but yeah, I do wonder because he is offering sacrifices for 'em.
For them.
But that also shows the love that a father had for his children. That hey, okay, for us,
Well, I
that
get it
we're
about
offering
him. I'm
sacrifices.
just wondering about what the children's
Yeah,
eternity is.
I don't think that's the point of the story.
I know it's not, but I just wonder. I like to wonder about that.
Yeah, I know.
And there's no answer.
Yep.
Unless I meet them, then I'll know.
I want to.
Yeah.
We'll find out one day.
I
That's the
hope I
first
fi-
question when you get up there. Ask, "Hey, Joe's children here. I want to see them.
Yeah.
What kind of party y'all throwing? Was this a wedding shower? My pastor said it was a wedding shower. I don't believe it. I think y'all were carousing.
I think corral.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
As outside of Jesus, who would y'all want to meet in heaven?
Oh,
Like who would be your
wow.
all-star saint that you?
Wow, that's a great question. I'll yield to Kenny.
Oh, thank you. I haven't really thought about that. I would probably want to meet, see my family.
No, it's
Then-
got to be from the Bible.
Oh, from the Bible.
From the
Bible.
Yeah, pick somebody famous.
No, somebody from the
Oh,
Bible.
Somebody that I had admired, I wouldn't say admire, but yes, admire or impressed with would
Oh,
probably be Paul because of how he had to live his life, how much struggle he
Yeah.
went through, and how he was beaten, and how humble he was when he says that, I tried to do good, but I can't. How he came from a very prideful person to probably one of the most humblest people in the Bible that I personally that I think, to me was.
Okay, so that's a New Testament. Pick an Old Testament.
Yeah, we keep changing them.
Well,
No, we're just adding two.
'cause, I like this. Yeah, why not make it? You got to pick a New Testament, and Old Testament saint.
The one in the Old Testament would probably be, I would like to see that's a hard one, but I would like to see,
I've got 3.
From the Old Testament?
Yes.
Yeah.
how old? Which one? Which chapter?
The only
Genesis to Malachi.
Malachi? Yeah, Malachi? No, Hosea would probably be
Oh, nice, nice.
because of
You
what
gonna
he
ask about
went
his
through.
wife?
Well, that's why how he was faithful to the Lord
Man, don't you
despite
know he gets
everything.
tired of being, "Yes, my wife's a prostitute."
Yeah, but he stayed faithful to the Lord.
yes, I'm the one.
I want to see the people that had the hardest struggle,
Oh,
not the
okay.
famous. How because I admire that, like, how everything's falling apart, but you
Right.
still stay faithful.
Habakkuk could be a good one too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but, Hos Hosea, Jeremiah would be
Oh,
the one I would really like to see
man,
now.
you just wanna see
But
something.
when you yeah, when you spend all your time
Lamentations,
in
he
a
wrote a
well,
book about crying.
yeah, in a well for half your life, or I don't know how, but for a while,
Yeah.
and, could I be wrong? Is this really God? I'm not sure I'm sure he had those thoughts.
Well,
Yeah, yeah,
he was
yeah.
kinda told from the beginning, "Don't expect much from this
I
ministry."
mean, John the Baptist, he should have known who Jesus was, but he questioned himself.
John
He
the
was in
Baptist?
prison. Yeah, but,
Well, he sent somebody, "Are you the one, or do we
I mean,
search for another?"
that's his
And then Jesus responds back with Isaiah saying, "Hey, the blind are having their eyes opened up,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
lame are walking." It's the promise that Isaiah had.
He's doing the Job thing. Yeah, not really giving him the
Or
answer, but he should know
or
the
the
answer. Yeah,
Elijah thing, which he'd
yeah.
be one I'd wanna meet. Elijah felt sorry for himself when he was, "God, ain't I
Right.
I've served you faithfully. Why is this way?" So, yeah, a lot of those in the Old Testament struggled with their faith.
And maybe Adam. Now, I think
I kick him to the
yeah, but don't you know the heartache that he went through seeing his son killed? I mean, yes, he's the one that caused it,
yeah,
but don't you know the heartache that he had? What, how much he regretted doing that,
sure.
and then he sees all this world, uh, how the world is turning out. So I think he would, yeah, I
He
think
probably gets booed a lot.
Yeah. I was like, he's not popular.
he's not.
You'd be the
Well,
one guy that shows up at his say, make his millennium.
yeah, or Eve, because of my sin, because of what I did, it's affected my family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how guilty can you feel on that?
So you're
Yeah.
just trying to make him feel better.
No, I just wanna know how they dealt with it,
Yeah.
because the Bible doesn't say much about it. Most, if not all, things said about Adam, it's pretty negative.
Yeah.
You know,
First Adam,
like,
by
is
Adam,
he in
sin
heaven?
entered the world.
Yeah, um, and I think he is, because how would we get the first messianic, prophecy? Um, I think he could come away. Can you imagine having a perfect mind?
Mhm.
Because we're going the other way. You have an imbalanced mind that is being made perfect. Having a perfect mind, also, now all of a sudden you got fear and all this, all this garbage that we grow up in. So he's going down as opposed we're going up. Can you imagine how you would feel that?
Yeah.
The
Well,
guilt?
yeah.
Let's just ask him.
Yeah, he ain't gonna be my first one though.
No.
Well, who is yours?
All right. Well, New Testament, it's one probably.
No, Old Testament. Okay.
Old Testament first.
Well, he
Got
gave
about
both.
5 in the Old Testament.
You went new first, then
Yeah.
old. Either one.
Well, but he can't. Oh, I was just talking about the Old Testament.
No, he didn't say I was
Yeah,
just.
I'm just talking about a Bible character.
He didn't say I was just talking about.
I answered the
You
question,
answered New Testament.
Then he said,
What
the
about
New
Old Testament?
I mean, a Bible character.
I'm gonna give you
Then it
both.
was.
I'm gonna give you both. New Testament. I would want to. This one is a man that died probably the most like Jesus. In fact, some of the things he says when he's dying, it
I
almost
know.
is word for what Jesus said. I would love to meet Stephen, probably just to say, hey man, you were the first martyr, and hey,
That's a good one.
I just would love, because Peter and Paul and James and all those guys. They probably get a whole lot of love. I don't know if Stephen does. So I
Or
give him,
Philip.
yeah. Well, he might be another good one.
Yeah.
Or I might meet a Nathaniel because, hey, I named my son after you. You're pretty cool.
But
'Cause
he's
you
only
said,
mentioned one time.
yeah, but he's still a disciple.
Oh, Nathan.
Yeah, well, in whom there is no guile. So, I mean, he was twice he was in there, and I think he was the one too,
Nathan?
Nathaniel.
Oh, yeah, but I was okay.
Nathaniel, the disciple.
But did you name Nate after Nathan or Nathaniel?
Nathaniel from the Bible.
Okay, well,
And as
Nathan's
a
from the
disciple.
Bible too.
Yeah.
He's a direct descendant from
But not
Jesus.
that.
Okay, I didn't know which one.
Nathaniel. And then
But
Old Testament, I got a slew.
is Nathaniel a plural for Nathan?
No,
It's not.
no,
I don't know.
no. The EL is
See, I always thought your
Hebrew.
your son was named after David's son, Nathan.
No, I wouldn't know about that.
Okay, but it was a good name.
All right. Old Testament, I've got 3.
I never won. Daniel.
Yeah, I'd love to meet Daniel because my man was pretty sharp. But honestly, I'd love to meet Noah and Elijah.
Noah.
Dude, I want to know, how did you build that big of a boat with no power tools, no electricity? Guys' arms must be big as tree trunks. I want to see that. Samson, I like to see Samson, just see, okay, were you a big guy or were you a wimp? See, some scholars think Samson was a wimp.
I think so.
You think so? See, that's disappointing to me. I'd want to,
Well, what do you think? Where do you think?
In my mind's eye, I got him as burly. And I got him as one of those big burly meatheads that don't know how to put two
Where did he get
sentences
his
together.
strength if he was so strong?
Well, the Lord came upon him
No, you knew where he
numerous
got.
times.
Look at him; he's a big guy.
Yeah, but he did things that you just don't do. I mean, whip somebody with 1,000 men with a donkey, jawbone of a donkey, lift the city
You
gates.
got to be pretty agile. So you got to be.
Yeah, but you lift the city gates and carry them on your back.
Huh?
Homeboy, even if you're skinny, if you do that, you ought to be building up some muscle.
That's the miracle.
Yeah, well, I think homeboy was because he makes
You're
too
missing
many.
the miracle.
He makes too many stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
New Testament, I think I'd go Peter. I think
I like him.
I see a lot of Peter's got a lot of Garrett in him, or vice versa. He likes to promise first and then find out if he can back it up later.
Then,
I
shoot first, aim later.
I told Mom the other day though, I said, we give Peter a lot of slack, but he stepped out in his faith a lot.
Yes, he did.
And he stumbled a lot.
Yes, he did.
But you step out, nobody else got out of the boat. That's what I told her.
And he sure enough wrote some fine works after Christ.
Yeah.
Was a leader in the church. I mean, yeah, Peter's a strong.
I think me and Peter would be a really dangerous duo. I mean, there'd be a lot of bad. There'd not be some good moments in it, but it'd be a highlight reel, good or bad. You're top 10 and not top 10.
and there's a reason that. Well, and he wasn't necessarily a missionary like Paul.
Right.
That wasn't Peter's style.
Yeah.
Paul was given, and Silas, they're given to traveling and telling. Peter, I think he was, and it may be that, I don't know why you think. I think it might have been he had so much Jew in him, Jewish, that he needed to be with the early church because he sure enough didn't do well with the Gentiles sometimes.
I think he was too legalistic.
Could have been.
For sure.
Well, that Judaism part of it.
Yes, and took Paul to finally get him out of that.
Yeah.
I think he was that was his biggest problem, and 2, probably he was more. He did say a lot of things that he didn't really think through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
he thought more of himself than he should have.
But he did have a dream one day that God showed him the sheet from heaven, and he did go to Cornelius' house. So it wasn't but it took him a while.
But he was almost like
he was still heavily
had to be dragged. But it was like it wasn't like, okay, Lord, I'm going over there. Yeah, show me that again.
Well, 3 sheets.
Yeah,
coming down.
Yes, I don't know. That was. Am I hallucinating? But now that we've answered that,
no, he didn't do his Old Testament.
I didn't have Old Testament yet. So Old Testament, there's a lot of good ones in the Old Testament.
Plenty good ones.
My first instinct is Solomon. I really like his writings.
That's good.
Except for Song of Solomon, but we've talked about that
still.
Love Proverbs, love Ecclesiastes. Something about Solomon, I mean,
Dude, how could you be married?
You get yes, you get you ask for wisdom, you get wisdom, and then you use your wisdom to on 1,000 wives and girlfriends,
Yeah.
and then in the end of it, you kind of realize that you didn't.
And in the end, really average king when it was all said and done.
Yeah,
And wisest guy.
yeah. Another one I think would be Joseph.
Yeah, that's a
That's
great.
He endured
a
a.
lot.
I would, man. How did
He
you?
ought to be number one on your suffering list.
Yeah, you
You
talk
put
about
me
suffering.
in?
How did you? That'd be my question. How did you stay faithful through all of that? It seems like every time he turned around, something else.
Yes, that's a good
So
one.
is he gonna be your number one guy now?
And he's gonna be in the top threes. Yeah.
It's a good choice, though.
Yeah,
I do like Joseph.
Yeah, he did have a lot. Why me? He's a person that I would say would be the person that would had a legitimate reason of saying, "Why me?"
But he never did.
Yeah, I don't think
Not-
he ever really.
In the scriptures, anyway.
Yeah,
Well, now besides Jesus, who do you
Okay.
identify with most?
Uh,
What New Testament character and what Old Testament character?
oh wow, that's hard.
man.
That's very difficult.
I want to. I want to say for the New Testament, I identify.
You got your answer for me.
Yeah, I've got
I
the answer
appreciate
for
that.
y'all. Just go ahead.
And that might be the way to answer that is somebody else.
That okay? Yeah, that would be an interesting.
I'm
take on it.
picturing Nicodemus for you, or not Nick Zacchaeus.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would say
no, for real. I'm trying to think because that is a hard question to answer for yourself.
That's true.
It really is because I mean, yes, I can see I relate to Peter. I get that because I
Well,
think you do.
I think the correct answer for me is there's not one because I can identify
With all of them.
most of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could be a Samson, or I could be a Peter, not thinking. I can be Paul, prideful. I mean, they all have my characteristics.
Yeah, I can see their downfalls in myself. Hey, look, and say what you will about meathead Samson. He made Hebrews 11. He's in the Hall of Faith. So
Yeah, but
how's that?
cost him some eyes.
Yeah, it cost him a whole lot.
And he needed to get rid of those eyes beforehand.
Well,
Yeah.
he sure did have an eye for him.
But the ones that I can't probably identify with, or two, and we mentioned them, is Daniel, because I don't see anything where he kind of struggled with. And
What about the Lions of Den?
I mean, he didn't struggle.
No, he
He
didn't.
struggled physically, but spiritually,
That's what I meant.
no sins recorded against
Yeah.
him that he did. Now, granted, he's human, so he
Now, Joseph, maybe because he had a pride issue early on,
yeah.
or did he finish well? But so I might a little bit with him, but there's some that I could identify, you know, a lot with David. David was just crazy. Yeah, which is I'm crazy too.
But that's what
Solomon, he turned his back on the Lord. I've done
Yeah.
that. Absalom, one of the most good-looking person in the Bible. I mean, I can.
That's how you
identify-
relate.
Yeah, I can identify
Yes,
with
I
that
see
one.
that.
Yeah, the long hair.
But you know,
Yeah.
I think that is the one thing I've always loved about the scriptures is most of the time these heroes of the faith and these men that we study and their relationship with God, the star of the Bible is God, but we have these co-stars or lesser stars being Abraham,
Supporting cast.
Isaac, Jacob. They all have clay feet. And that's what I love about the Bible is it doesn't now it comes back in Hebrews 11. It says, by faith, Abraham left his
Right.
home and didn't know where he was going. Yeah, we see that. But at the same time, we also know the rest of the story. By faith, he did that. But also by flesh, he lied to Pharaoh. By
Twice.
flesh, he did this. You know, we can know that they're not perfect.
And he Isaac mimicked him because he lied too.
It's
And
Yes.
you have to
Yeah, they
watch what
copied
your
it.
children. Sometimes you've got to. I mean, I don't want to make a sermon out of that.
Well,
thing.
and then if you really want to play that out to the next one, man, he was a deceiver from the beginning. He just
he
soon
took it-
climb a tree.
Oh, he perfected it.
Yeah, he'd climb a tree to tell you a lie rather than stand on the ground and tell you the
so
truth.
it's sometimes our
Jacob,
children will
the deceiver.
will follow us, and so we have to be careful on our example.
Hey, yes, they will.
Yeah.
It's funny too. If you would have asked me, so for the longest time, I had read the Gospels, Genesis, and probably the Ten Commandments. And I'm not sure some of the Psalms and some of the Proverbs probably, but as far as like really knowing different, knowing the entire Bible, I didn't. That's the only ones I really knew.
Right.
So at that time, if you'd asked me who I identify with, I would have said Abraham, because at that point, I remember I only made it to Genesis, right? And through Genesis, I was thinking, yeah, I appreciate Abraham because he was really messed up and made a lot of really bad decisions, but he had strong faith.
Right.
I can relate to that. And then as I read the rest of the Old Testament, I realized he's just like the first person that did that, but the entire Old Testament is full of that same pattern.
Yeah.
Great faith, great mistakes, rinse and repeat over and over and over again. And
I think that's the beauty of it is, look, God ain't expecting us to be perfect because we won't be.
right.
And there are some sub characters that I could identify with that probably never did uh, turn out right or get their stuff together, like Pharaoh. His heart was hard.
I think you're a bit different than that, though.
Well, I'm just saying, them. I'm saying I had, I'm just saying on both sides are the ones that you wouldn't think you can identify with. You can identify
Right.
Pharaoh. Hardness of heart. I've had that before.
Yeah, but not to that degree.
Well, I don't know what degree he had, but it was
9 plagues, and he still says no. 10th plague, he says, all right, leave. Then he changes his mind. That's a pretty hard heart. I don't know that we've ever had. I hope you've never had that hard a heart. I mean, that you would.
well, if I did, I'm over it. But
Yeah. I mean that's the nth degree of
yeah,
hard
I
heartedness.
mean, but you would think, but he still had a choice till the day he died if he didn't make it.
He had a choice today as a whole army died at the bottom of the sea too.
But I don't know if he died in the bottom of the sea. I think
No, I'm
he sent
saying his
everybody
whole
else in
army.
there.
Well, let's just face facts. When it was all said and done, all the livestock's gone. The land has been ravaged. The land stinks from frogs and flooding, and the blood or the water becomes like blood, and his whole army is at the bottom of the sea. My man lost everything because of a hard heart.
But he was just deceived.
Well, I mean, he
Completely
did it to
deceived.
himself first.
Yes. And I don't know if God hardened his heart. I think,
No, he hardened his
know
heart up until the 6th commandment. But
but
then it switches, and he does it, and the Lord does it at the same time.
I don't know really what that means.
I think what it means is God is not giving him a space to repent at that time. I think he could have easily said, "All right, I'm gonna let him go."
Well, yeah. Well, explain that to me because I'm really not sure. He hardened his heart. God hardened his heart. And I know God comes later, but explain that to
Well, I
everybody
mean,
else.
I
I mean, I
really understand the plague. You got to understand what happened in Exodus 3 and Exodus 6 and 7. Exodus 3, burning bush, God tells Moses, I'm going to free my people. You go down, Moses goes down before Pharaoh and he says, hey, let my people go for 3 days into the wilderness and worship me, the Lord. Pharaoh says, I don't know this Lord, and I don't need to listen to him. Well, it's right then that God begins to say, oh, he is going to know who I am. And so first round bout, or if you want to call it a prelim bout, or maybe it was the pre-show bout, is Moses goes before Pharaoh again, throws his staff down, it comes a snake. Well, the Egyptian magicians can do that, but Aaron's staff eats their staff. So, all right, so God trumps that one. Well, Pharaoh says, this ain't nothing but parlor tricks. I'm good. I ain't going to let you people go. And again, remember, this is him saying, I'm going to let basically 2 million slaves go that are building my cities. And if they're gone, who's going to make my bricks?
which
Who's
is
gonna build my walls?
which I think is, and I'm not sure, because maybe not. If the Israelites, there might be more Israelites, or there's beginning to get more
Yeah,
Israelites in Egypt.
they're great in number. They're great in number.
I don't know if that.
And they're becoming, hey, if what he gets worried about is if he gets an enemy and that enemy can somehow talk to the Israelites to fight with them, okay, that's 2 million enemies you got right there on top of the other nations. All right, so God says, all right, he's going to know who I am. And he even tells Moses, as Moses goes before him defeated, because he told him, you got time to think of freedom, then go get your straw and your bricks. So then Moses spends the end of chapter 5 crying the blues God, you ain't delivered on your promise. You sent me down here. Why'd you even do that, God? Because you haven't delivered nothing. Well, God tells him in chapter 6, I will do this. Moses, you packed for a weekend trip. Hold on. You packed for a weekend trip, but you needed to pack a 40-year supply.
So up to the 6 or through
Chapter
6?
6.
Chapter 6. Okay, I thought you meant 6 plague.
No. Chapter 6.
But up to now.
Then what happens is, all right, then you have the showdown with the staff. Then you have turning the water to blood. Well, the magicians do that. Then you have the second one, which is frogs. The magicians do that.
Mhm.
The third one is the gnats or flying insects. The magicians can't do that. Pharaoh begins to have a little bit of a turn, but then he comes back and he changes his mind. I'm gonna let you no, they sometimes what would happen is, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna let y'all go. And then the plague ends, I'll change my mind.
Right.
And the whole time, God is just building up time after time, letting him know. And I really believe from the jump, I believe God knew I'm going to send 10 different plagues. Because if you look at each one of those plagues, it is aimed at one of Egypt's false gods.
Well,
Mm.
I mean, I don't question that God already knew what it was going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew
Right.
that a long time.
So in the first 6, it's Pharaoh who's hardening his
Yeah.
heart. He's like, okay, no, I'm not going to be, because the Egyptians admired a hardness of heart. The Egyptians admired, oh, we're hard headed and stubborn, not because they're stupid, but because we are going to stand firm. We're Egypt. Nobody's going to boss us around.
Right.
We kind of have a little bit of that
I was
in
gonna say, that
our
sounds
leader now.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. He says a lot of things, but I think he just likes to make people.
Oh, well,
I think-
it's a pot.
But see, I think that's actually a commonly celebrated trait in society today. That pride, that
We ain't gonna be bullied.
yeah,
We're Egypt.
yeah.
You're a bunch of slaves. Why would I listen to the God of a bunch of slaves?
When did the plague, and I can't remember which one, when did it stop being in the land of
Goshen?
Israel?
That should have been either 3 or 4. I think it was 4.
Okay.
Because 4 was livestock,
Mm.
and
That's-
the Israelites' livestock was gone. Then you had darkness. Then you had those. So
Just in the Egypt area.
yeah, just where the Egyptians were.
I don't know how that happened, but that's pretty.
That's pretty amazing.
That's
too,
like
isn't
what?
it?
Yeah, I mean, wow.
But
So
the land of
they can't
Goshen
do
was
what?
was safe.
Yeah.
And so then that's when Pharaoh even sent investigators into Goshen to say, how is it that their cattle was, not destroyed and ours were? And I think he begins putting this thing together. That's also when God begins to harden his heart of, hey, no, you're going to go and you're going to see all these that I got for you.
I could see how at first, because I'm thinking about a situation that I was in here recently, how first you hurt or you repentant, but after you sleep on it or think about it for a while, you become angry and then you become bitter. I mean, I'm trying to with what was going through. I was trying to associate that with what I was going through because I've seen people when something happens to them,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if I'm being clear on this, where the first thing is shock.
Right.
Uh, it catches you by surprise, or you've been hurt. The next stage becomes you get angry,
Right.
and in that final stage, it goes underground into bitterness. And I wonder if that last plague, the son, the firstborn, was he bitter now? Did he become bitter? And that's why he went to chase it.
Yeah, I don't know that is necessarily the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what you're talking about there would be Hebrews 13, where it says, "Don't let the root of bitterness take hold,
Yeah.
because when it does, it defiles many." I don't know that it is necessarily that's going on there as much as it is. No, when God hardened his heart, it was there's no chance of repenting now. And even after number 6, Pharaoh still does some of it. I don't know that there's a specific pattern that says, okay, it's Pharaoh, 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 God, 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 God. No, I think it was a little bit of
Started
especially
blending in.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I was,
But you gotta get pretty bad to some of the things that went through. I think when you talked about when the, flood took place, all right, that's the, whole livelihood because fish died, the land stunk. I mean, not flood, but the water became blood, the
Mhm.
Nile became blood. All right, then you had all the frogs, and it says the land stunk. I mean, these are things that God is attacking each one of their major systems to where when they're livestock, that's your economy. I mean, your livelihood with the water, you can't drink water for a while because you don't have any. Then you have all the cattle. I mean, this put them in economic and all kinds of ruin
yeah,
if you
yeah.
stop and think about
But
it.
his
And military. I mean,
yeah.
your army's at the bottom of the sea, dude.
But now I'm gonna say this because I want to understand it.
Okay.
I don't, when Jesus says, and because this is probably where the kingdom was ripped from Judah to, and I can't remember, I have to go to the chapter, um, where the kingdom was ripped from Israel, and then Jesus started, going towards the Gentiles.
Right.
But it's a blaspheming of the Holy Ghost because that word blaspheme,
Right.
n- nobody, I have not really found a good definition for that because I don't think nobody really knows. But my thinking is when he's talking to the Pharisees, and I'll tie it back to the Pharaoh. But my thinking is the blasphemy of the Holy Ghost is a constant rejection, and because you're not rejecting
Right.
Christ, you're not rejecting God, although that, but
That's what it ends up being.
that's the Holy Spirit is the one that draws you
Strongly.
or
So you're
pulls away.
saying
So
no to the wooing.
that's once you do that, that happens. In my thinking, that happens at death because there's no repentance.
Yeah.
Or can you
I
still
think it can
be
happen before then.
okay? So that's my question
Yeah.
is, now
That's when you're
I'm gonna
accountable for it is at death,
yeah.
but I think it can
But
happen before
now,
then that you've made that decision.
now I'm gonna take that whole scenario to the Pharaoh
And I think it's a little bit, but I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's
because
apples and oranges. I think it's apples and oranges.
really,
I
well,
really
tell me
do.
why.
I mean, I think the similarities are there,
That's what I meant.
but it ain't the same.
No, I mean it's not.
Because I don't know that God was ever giving him a and again, that's a pretty risky statement I'm about to make. I don't know that maybe God was giving him a chance to repent. I'm not sure there was much I whether or not he had a chance, I'm sure God was gonna give him a little
I
bit,
think God gives everybody a chance.
but I think he'd closed the door pretty quick.
And I'm only going back to Romans
Right.
1, where
Well, and
everybody
again,
has
we're
their
trying to
stuff.
apply New Testament
I know.
salvation to an Old
That's why.
Testament story,
That's
and you
why I'm
can't
being
do
very
that.
careful
Yeah.
with how I
And you
approach that.
can't you can't you can't go that way. I mean, that doesn't you're it's different, whole different um mode of how God deals with us.
But
So
do
it's
you?
be dangerous to do that.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah.
But do you believe that everybody in the Old Testament had a chance to? Because, and I say this because there's a lot of things. Although the Bible, the Old Testament is written for the Jews, there's a lot of times that God had Gentiles being, converted.
Right.
Do you think that everybody, and I don't know why I know I'm going down a rabbit hole this time, everybody that has ever lived
Mm,
at some point in time with the knowledge that they knew had an opportunity to know God?
mm.
Because this is what we're getting into. Why would a loving God not give me a chance?
All right. Well, you're getting into general
Yeah,
revelation
yeah,
versus
say,
specific
yeah, yeah, yeah,
revelation.
I know.
And general revelation says that everybody should be able to see from creation that there is a God.
Yes,
Does that mean that every Hittite born had an opportunity to respond?
I
I
don't.
don't know. I don't think so.
Well, I'm
At the
asking you
same
'cause I don't
time,
know.
God did send, and again, you're even in that, there's a different dichotomy. You've got the law versus pre-law. So when the law came and God established Israel, Israel was to be a light unto the nations. So did those nations know about a God that is special in the
Some of them
nation of
did.
Israel?
I
Most of them that were around them did. I'm sure the Philistines knew exactly who
Yeah.
this God was.
Yeah, I mean, it's a God question, and I can't answer it
Yeah,
because I
and I
don't
don't
know.
think there is an answer other
But not
than
on this
God.
side.
Yeah, that God can answer it. But I mean, I'm just trying to give us some clues of, okay, I don't know that anybody is without excuse. I think the Bible makes that clear.
I do too. I do too.
That maybe you don't know the whole story, but you're without excuse.
That's correct. Uh, you're judged on by what you know. I say,
Yeah, and I hate to even go that far.
yeah, I do too because anything after death, I don't know a whole lot about.
Sure.
Yeah, that's not.
Well, even anything before
Yeah,
this, I
so
don't
far I'm
know
doing.
anything about.
No, no, well, that's true, but I knew even less.
Right.
I can't, or anything outside of this earthly world, because like Satan and Job, when we were just talking about that, Job was talking about the devil comes up there to God's throne.
Sure.
I don't know. Don't know how that happens.
Right.
I'm I only see that one time. I don't know if that happens all the time or what's going on. I can't
And what kind of
put it on
meeting
here.
is that? Is that like a monthly or quarterly meeting that he has? That it's,
Yeah, yeah, right. I
mean,
guess so. Yeah,
everybody reports. It's kind of
yeah,
like the yearly.
yeah.
Yeah, I would automatically kind of think of
Staff meeting.
God and the devil as being so far opposites that they never interact with one another.
Right.
You got one's good and one's evil, and they're opposite camps.
And lo and
But then it's
behold,
like, well, Carolina Duke meet twice a year.
yeah.
There's times that you're going to interact or engage your enemy face to face, I guess. And I guess
Yeah.
I don't know if
This
it's
makes it
morally-
sound like it was a scheduled meeting.
Yeah.
And
It's just
all the
like
council comes in.
That was one of the things that kind of stood out to me too is that why God brought up the conversation. He said he'd been roaming the earth, and he said, "If you consider my servant Job," Satan hadn't brought up anything other than saying he'd been roaming the earth, and God initiated it.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those things that I wish there was a little bit more.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I think we all
and
do,
here's
yeah.
the thing: God also, in a way, allowed it
Mm-hmm.
because Satan said, "Well, you got a hedge of protection around him. No wonder he worships you and blesses you."
Mm-hmm.
Then, all right, let's take it off.
Yeah.
I mean, God removes that, and so God is behind this in a way, not responsible for it, but He is behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's where you got to trust that God, even though He may bring these hurts and heartaches in our life, He's got something behind it that you can trust that it's going to be worth something.
Yeah.
I would say Romans. You just quoted Romans.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't want to quote it.
Okay.
Yes, it gets
I won't.
quoted.
I won't say that.
It gets quoted so much.
Yeah.
No, not to be bad, but
No, it is abused. It
yes.
should be abused. Like I can do all things through Christ is abused.
Or God works all things together. Yeah.
Yeah, or ask anything in my name and you shall have it
Yeah.
is abused.
It gets abused, and we claim it for, oh no, I'm having such a bad
For our
day.
selfish,
You know,
selfish.
my phone doesn't work.
yeah.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
but again, God can use that. I mean, I'm not saying He can't, but that's
Yeah.
This is
we
the Holy
abuse
Ghost phone right here.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that works in my life.
It brings you comfort.
Oh,
It's a counselor.
This is not a serious topic whatsoever, but just while we're talking about phones and things, Christian has about destroyed his the other day, or his little iPod thing, because I go in the shower or he's in the shower and I'm going to the bathroom for something and I can hear his phone going off and he has had it in the shower with him on the floor.
With no waterproof case.
I mean, he's got a case, but that still ain't.
Yeah, you got to have a
That's in
waterproof
case it
case.
gets a little wet. He had it literally sitting on the floor of the shower watching him. I said, dude, but stuck it in rice. It's working now, but man.
But still,
Yeah.
come on, man. You can take a shower without
These
a
kids and their
without a
phones.
phone. I'm
crazy.
telling you, they're attached.
Get ready to. This is a whole point.
Well, let's just wrap the podcast. I think we're about done. So that'll
It's been
be
a lively discussion. You can almost do 2 shows, can't you?
that's the last 2 in a row
Well,
we've done have been an hour and a half plus. So
We could do
we-
that if you need to. Yeah, because I am going to be out of town April 6th and April 20th. So
Why are you going? Where are you going?
you write a book?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
April 6th through the 9th, Renee and I, I'm going to take her on her spring break. We're going out of town together.
nice. I'm just gonna guess that the
The church
listeners
office is
don't
closed.
care about this part, so
Yeah,
we're
we've
going
already-
off. Bye, y'all.
Yeah.
Tim and I enjoyed it. I mean,
Did he actually work?
yeah, he did more than I did. I
Edit.
No, I was
We made it 32 seconds. All right, awesome.
Did he tell you, or did
No, I got sources.
were they unnamed sources?
You probably know.
If you name them, they
It's
won't.
already been mentioned.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway,
If you name your sources, they won't be sources
Yeah.
for long.
it's still record this.
Edit.
Edit.
You look like you've lost a little.
That's the all black.
Well, I'm
I've
not.
learned that you wear a black shirt. That's why I've been wearing a lot of black lately. It helps.
I hadn't been to Hardee's, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're missing out. That pulled pork
I hadn't been to
Frisco
Hardee's
burger.
since,
That's what I'm.
I had not been to Hardee's since last time we met.
Yeah,
That's why I hadn't lost that much weight.
and I tried it because I went right from here to Hardee's and I saw
Yeah.
they had that pulled pork. And I texted you guys in the drive-thru while I was waiting to get it. But once
Did you use the wrapper too?
once
He said-
I got it, I didn't come back up for air to even see if it texted back until I got back home, and that thing was long gone. It probably made it 3 minutes out of the parking lot. That was
There you
good
go.
though. Get back going here. Don't say anything stupid now. We are out of edit mode
As I
now.
say every wedding I do. All right, I'm gonna turn the microphone on. Don't anybody say anything stupid.